Most of us will never step a foot on an oil rig in our lifetime. And maybe that is why it is such an excellent setting for a horror game. Still Wakes the Deep follows the story of Kaz, an electrician working on an oil rig out in the Scottish Sea, when suddenly everything goes wrong. Monsters appear, chaos ensues, and Kaz is left fighting for his life, trying to make it home. But is this game worth playing? Let's start with the basics. Still Wakes the Deep was released on June 18th, 2024. It is developed by the Chinese Room. It is priced at $35, which might feel a little bit steep for a game that runs just under 5 hours. However, I feel I got my money's worth, though I wouldn't blame anyone for wanting to grab it on a discount. The setting of the oil rig is excellent. The graphics are realistic and the rig feels lived in. Of course, I have never been to an oil rig, so I can't tell you how accurate it is, but it came off as a very realistic setting. And I am curious if any of you guys have ever been on an oil rig. Is this what it looks like? If you have any experience, tell us about it down in the comments. The first part of the game has you walking around various areas, getting familiar with the rig and the crew. It is a bit of a slow burn, but I do love beginnings like this. It gives you time to connect with the characters, even if it's just in small ways. Plus, the exploration during this phase rewards you with some great world building, helping you better understand the rig, the period the game is set in, and the operation issues going on in the background. Because, let me tell you, there is a lot of issues going on that rig. OSHA would not be happy. This is also the perfect time to jump into the menu to get the settings just as you like them. I was glad to see that the game has an impressive option menu focused on game accessibility, with everything neatly split up in things like motion sickness, color blindness, flashing light sensitivity, text sizes, and more. This menu should be seen and copied by other creators, because this is just such a perfect setup, and I am so happy with it. It also made it possible for me to play the game, because if I would have not been able to go in and adjust some of the tunings like the head movement, I would not have been able to play this game, because I'm very prone to motion sickness. But I'm happy to report I made it through the game without a hint of nausea, and there is a lot of jumping around and standing in perilous places that could easily have triggered it. But while the beginning is quite calm, I recommend not getting too comfortable, because the calm does not last long. Soon everything starts to go wrong, and Kaz has to survive the horrors on the rig, sneaking around monsters and reacting to button prompts to stay alive. Now let's talk gameplay. It's not the game's strongest point. You'll be walking around, sneaking past enemies, climbing and jumping through areas, and occasionally hitting a button prompt to stop Kaz from falling into the sea. You will also experience the slowest running I have ever seen in a game, which I found rather amusing. But all in all, the gameplay is incredibly basic, and honestly, it would not hold up for a much longer game. In the final segments of the game, I had gotten quite tired of the nearly slipping and falling moments. These had become a bit too frequent and also just rather predictable. Even if the gameplay isn't amazing, the game really shines in its story, characters, and voice acting. While the plot is predictable if you're familiar with some horror tropes, the characters themselves are so well written that you can't help but enjoy the ride. And I have to say, the Scottish accents are absolutely amazing. They're such a delight. Every voice actor clearly brought their A game, and the direction was top-notch. It made it so easy to connect with the characters. And through the short playthrough, I went through all the ranges of emotions, from laughter to crying. All thanks to the strength of the storytelling and voice performance. And during the tense moments, Kaz swears in his thick Scottish accent. It is hilarious, and it does bring some levity to some of the more tense scenes, because the game itself is quite scary. The monster designs are creepy, and there are plenty of gore and body horror going on. But what really stands out is the level design and environmental lighting. The way the developers use light and shadow and colors is beautiful, and it adds so much to the atmosphere, whether it's making areas more frightening or simply creating breathtaking scenes. There were several times I simply stopped to admire things or to simply try to hype myself up into facing the horrifying thing I was seeing. At the end of the day, I think Still Wakes the Deep is a great game. If you enjoy narrative-driven horror and don't mind minimal gameplay mechanics, you're going to love the game. With its fantastic setting, solid story, and top-tier voice acting, it is a great horror experience. Personally, I feel like I got my money's worth, but that's just my take. What do you think? Is Still Wakes the Deep worth playing? Let's talk about it in the comments. And while you're down there, go ahead and sacrifice the like button to our algorithmic overlords. And if you want more reviews and gameplay, don't forget to subscribe. But in the end, all I want to say is takk fyrir að horfa og eigðu yndislegan dag.